We're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Dr. Thomason, roll call.
President Reese, members of the board, please let the record show that we have 4 board members here tonight. Mr. Thornock was unable to make it because he had a previous work engagement.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and have our moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We ask at this time you keep our Queen Creek family in your thoughts and prayers, as well as the Florida families and students. All right. I move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Superintendent's report, Dr. Thomason.
President Reese, members of the board, tonight we have some exciting awards to share with you. First, I'd like to bring up Power Ranch Administration and Michelle Reese to introduce them for our Points of Pride at Power Ranch Elementary School. Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason. This is a wonderful time when we get to share our points of pride, and today we are going to recognize 2 of our school's points of pride. Governing Board Member Reese, Governing Board members, and the audience. I'd like to introduce, Power Ranch Principal Chris Reuter.
Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Michelle Cota, my assistant principal. Thank you for being here, President Reese, members of the board, Dr. Thomason, and cabinet. This is one of my favorite times of the year where we get to select a handful of people from Power Ranch and in front of an audience just share with you the great things they're doing on our campus as Panthers. We're very proud of them. So Mrs. Cota and I will each be introducing them and sharing a little bit about what they do on our campus. We will start with our student.
So tonight we are recognizing a 2nd grade student from our campus who, according to her teacher, and we can all agree, she is extremely respectful. She's kind always. She is a great role model for the other students in her class and grade, and she is always ready to work and does her best on a daily basis, and that is Kaylee Walker. The next 2 staff members that I would like to recognize are 2 classified staff members, Martha Rietbrock and Jamie Johnson. These 2 lovely ladies are parents as well as playground aides and cafeteria aides at our school. They are such hardworking ladies and care so much for our students. Back in November, we had 2 other aides who left us unexpectedly, which it's a very hard position to fill because it's kind of in the middle of the day. And so we count on them to be there. And these 2 stepped up to the plate and covered and just worked so hard, and so we are very happy to recognize all of their hard work that they do for us.
I will add that the initiative they take as well, just communicating with Michelle and myself as far as what we can do to improve things in the cafeteria being short-staffed, and their flexibility was really important. Another parent we'd like to recognize, this parent is our volunteer, and so it was shared with me a couple weeks ago that Mrs. DuPont is just very supportive of Mrs. Crawford in her classroom, and she is her room mom. And for anybody in the room that is a room mom, you know that it is a fun and energetic job, and she takes her job to that extent and lives out the fun and energetic part of it. And then she has another child in kindergarten. Miss Crawford's a first grade teacher, and when Miss Edwards, our kindergarten teacher, lost her room mom because they moved, Mrs. DuPont told Miss Edwards, hey, I could do that for you. And Miss Edwards like, are you sure you're already doing it somewhere else? And she said, absolutely. So I know recently she's been on campus a lot. We've had a couple different PTO events that she's helped with decorations and all of that fun stuff. And then with the daddy-daughter dance, she's very involved. We appreciate her. And you can come on up, Mrs. DuPont. Thank you for all that you do for our teachers and students. I would like to add also, all of these lovely women have children on our campus, and it should come as no surprise that each of their children on our campus are absolutely incredible. So as a principal and assistant principal, thank you for raising students just like our friend right here who models that excellent behavior on our campus. So as parents too, thank you for what you do. And last, we're going to recognize our teacher. Miss Farrell is one of our resource teachers on campus, and she exemplifies what we want all of our teachers to do. We actually had her name come up a lot when we talked about Teacher of the Year by the colleagues that work with her. She puts kids first. She always is there for those students and their families, supporting them as a resource teacher through the good times and the bad times. She's the first to bring a student to Mrs. Cota or myself to share their success stories. Typically the last to bring somebody when they don't do something so well, because she is so patient and kind-hearted that she'll work with those kids until she's blue in the face, and repeating herself and just being very consistent. Mrs. Cota and I are just proud of her no matter what's taking place on our campus. She always just remembers what she is there to do. She doesn't get caught up in any of the other stuff that's taking place. She really just wants to come, love on the kids and love on her colleagues, and then do whatever she can to support everybody. So Kim, thank you so much for everything you do. And I know that they all have people in the audience, so would you like to hear who they brought with them? I'll start over here. She's not paying attention. So I know Martha brought her family, so if you just want to introduce them. And when she introduces you, you can just stand up because you're part of what makes her so awesome, too.
Okay. I'm going to start with my husband, Michael Riedrock. Then there's Dylan Riedrock. And last but not least, Christian Riedrock.
Do you want to tell everybody who came with you tonight? Do you want me to do it for you? You want to do it? I can do it. So she brought her entire family. I know she has a brother and a sister, her parents, and her uncle. So thank you for your support. Just give a little wave.
I have with me today my husband, Joel Johnson, and my youngest daughter, Jaden Johnson.
I have with me today my daughter, Kinsley.
I have my father, Dan, my best friend, Lauren, and some of the most amazing colleagues, and thank you guys so much for always supporting me, Lindsay Crawford, Karen Edwards, and Piper Morgan. Thank you guys. Where is she? Garcia, you sneaky, and Laura Garcia, thank you.
Thank you very much, Power Ranch. Now I'd like to bring forward our Higley High principal, Mrs. Nancy Diab Scott.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to actually have two people join me today as I hand out these awards. If I could have Master Sergeant Altop and Colonel Vaughn please join me. Have you guys help me hold this? Is that okay? We're going to start with Corbin. All right, what an amazing evening. I get to celebrate some wonderful people that I get to work with as colleagues and get to see as students on my campus. So first I'd like to start with Mr. Corbin Pierce, our Student of the Year. I might cry. Gosh. Corbin Pierce is without a doubt one of the most academically gifted and community-minded students within Higley High School. In fact, he's currently taking 3 AP classes, and although this course load looks daunting to the average observer, he makes it look easy, and he takes the time to be an active Higley High School student. He is mature beyond his years and an extraordinary talent. He currently has an unweighted GPA of a 3.72, weighted GPA of 4.1, and is currently in the top 19% of his class. He has been with the AFJROTC for 3 years, and in that time has built quite the reputation as someone on the mission. Corbin knows what he wants and won't stop until he has it. He has his sights set on Embry-Riddle with the goal of becoming a United States Air Force fighter pilot, one day patrolling the skies over cities and nations around the world. It is truly my honor to work with this amazing young man that I've known for several years. And on a personal note, he actually was very inspiring to a close friend of mine's student who came to Higley this year as a freshman. And during one of our activities nights, Corbin brought him aside, talked to him about JROTC, and he is in JROTC because of this young man. All right. Sorry, adults, I might not cry with you guys. It's just the kids. Next, I would like to bring up Miss Yvette Worley, our certified teacher of the year. Mrs. Worley is truly one of the most inspiring teachers that we have. She goes above and beyond, not only in the classroom, but outside of the classroom for all of her students. She's the first to volunteer. She works with all of our inclusion students, and she's the first to ask for the kids. This year, we actually had a out-of-the-box experience that we worked with our amazing associate superintendent and our wonderful director of HR that allowed us to do this. But we had one of our teachers go on maternity leave, and unfortunately, the sub that had come in ended up getting sick. And so Ms. Worley came up with this amazing idea. Ready for this? She took both classes and taught both classes. So in some of those classes, she had 70 high school sophomores in her class, teaching them geometry to ensure that they did not miss one day of instructional studies. Thank you, Ms. Worley, for going above and beyond. And her out-of-the-box thinking, and thank you guys for supporting us with that, because it worked great. Next, I would like to bring up our volunteer of the for Points of Pride, Mrs. Tricia O'Rourke. Go Irish! I have a little something here from our families. Tricia has served as our Parents Unite president for our football boosters for many years, and her work has been critical to the development and strength of this organization. For parents who've had the opportunity to work with Tricia, we all would agree that she deserves more than just this recognition. She remains available to the board to ask questions, provide insight, and provide recommendations for the new board. Simply, she is truly an invaluable resource. Thank you, Tricia, for all you do. We're going to come visit you in Cali. And last and definitely not least, my right-hand woman, Mrs. Kimberly Brackett, our classified Points of Pride. I've had the pleasure of knowing this young lady for 13 plus years and working with her for 13 years, having her amazing students, or amazing kids with me at Higley High School when I was an assistant principal there. And she is truly not only a blessing as a colleague, but a true friend. Our teachers know that they can always go to her for anything, paper, anything, markers, anything that they need. And she's also, you should see her, how she interacts with our kids. She truly cares about every single one of our kids, whether they're in the office for something great or maybe in the office for something not so great. But the way she handles our parents and works with our teachers, she just gives all of herself all the time. Thank you, Kim, for all you do. We have a couple of other gifts to give, but while I'm doing that, I'd like you to introduce who you're here with.
I'm here with my husband, Chris, two of my kids, Sabrina and Pato, my wonderful parents, Sonia and Jose, and my department. Thank you, guys.
I'm here with my husband, Keith, in the back.
I'm here with my husband, Alan Brackett, my relatively new son-in-law, Justin Peterson, and my daughter, who was a 2009 Higley graduate and a Ken Vanda High recipient, so Jordan, and our first grandson, Easton.
I have my family right in the middle, so I'll start with my dad on the corner. He's always been there for me, and it's been a real honor to have him as my dad. And so then I can move on to my sister, Shy, and she's going to be here next year, so I'm really glad. And then my mom. So I do love my mom a lot. And then my brother in the corner, wild, but I love him a lot. I love all of them. So thank you.
And for upcoming events, Dr. Thomason?
President Reese, members of the board, I can't believe that 3/4 of our school year is almost gone. So after next week, we do have our spring break coming up. That is going to be from March 12th to March 23rd, and we'll have a 2 weeks off of no school for the kids and our teachers. Then on Wednesday, March 28th, we have our next board meeting, and that's awards at 5:30, and the board meeting starts at 6 o'clock. And then we have a holiday on Friday, March 30th. That will be our spring recess, and will be no school that day. And that would be the upcoming events.
Thank you. I'd also like to welcome Gilbert Town Council Representative Scott Anderson. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. All right, and we're going to go on to board comments. Typically, this is the area that we kind of mention what we've been to, what we've done. I just wanted to take a brief moment to address some concerns. School safety, and it's important. And this board is very supportive of school safety. The loss of life we've had in our children, whether it be the hands of someone else or their own, is too great. Please listen to your kids. You see something, say something. Teach our kids, you see something, say something. We are here to support them, and we need to do what we can, and we need to listen to them. I think they know more than we think they do, and we need to give them that credit. So, sorry, it's an emotional subject, but it's been big. With losing the children in Florida and losing another one in Queen Creek the other day, that's really close to home. And our loss of life of children has been just way too great. So as parents, I know our room cleaned out, but please, as parents, as administrators, as teachers, community members, really talk to your kids. Let them know if I would rather err on the side of caution. If they think something, say something, as well as talking to them about the consequences of fake threats. This fear is real. These kids are scared, and it is very real. And having conversations with our kids about, it's not funny, it's not a joke, it's very serious. And our police departments are taking it very seriously. People are going to be prosecuted for making fake threats. Have those conversations with your kids too. It's not a day off of school. It's not, oh, let's not go to school tomorrow or whatever. These threats are very serious. And so please, people who watch this, talk to your kids and let them just understand the seriousness of these threats and instilling fear, because that fear is very, very real right now. So I wanted to take a moment to talk about it. And like I said, our administration, our teachers, this board is very, very concerned about school safety, and I'm not saying because we can't keep our kids safe, but it is a real issue, and we are very supportive of doing what we can, when we can, and how we can, and listen to your kids. Like I said, I think these kids know more than we think we can. So I wanted to just take a moment so we understand that this loss of life of our children is too great right now.
President Reese,
Mrs. Taylor.
thank you so much for just bringing this to light. I just want to add that I'm thankful that our administration throughout our district supported our students' voices in their walkouts. They were done well, they were done tastefully, they were done respectively, and I just want to commend our admin and our superintendent for supporting that. With that said, too, I'm just going to take a little plug that next March 7th at 6 p.m. at Campo Verde, there will be a town hall on school safety. Higley will be represented along with Gilbert. Superintendent's coming, I believe. We have Meg from Chandler coming. We have Bridget Peterson from Gilbert also coming. So it is going to be talked about and addressed throughout the area, and everybody's invited. So just wanted to put that out there too.
Thank you. Any other board comments? All right. Request to speak to governing board. We'll give you a minute. While you're doing that, I will just read that we do value input from our constituents. This time has been set aside for anyone from the audience who wishes to address the board. Please remember this is not an appropriate venue to evaluate, discuss, or criticize district personnel. Policy KEB provides a process for complaints about personnel. Speakers should be aware that false statements about individuals may result in civil liability. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and discussion at a later date. We do ask that you please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Mr. Von Holt?
Hi there, my name is Russell Von Holt. I have 2 developmentally disabled children that are my foster children that go to Santan Elementary. I also have a son that goes over, Santan Elementary, which had the threats going on. Also, Sossman Middle School, my youngest son, Eric, 13, goes there too. Now, we received an email on Sunday about the threat. We were given no information about the threat whatsoever. And there's a couple different subjects I'd like to cover, so if you want to limit to 3 minutes, it's probably not all going to fit in. But the first problem was, we were notified, so I contacted the Gilbert Police to try to get a little bit more information. I was like, okay, they just told me there's going to be stepping up police presence pretty much in all the schools because a threat was made against the Higley Unified School District in their city. So I decided to contact Queen Creek Sheriff's Department to see what they're going to be doing at Sossman Middle School. Nobody ever contacted them. So what happens if this was a serious threat? Somebody can't go shoot fish in a barrel at one school and they go to another. And a whole police department, the Queen Creek Police Department wasn't notified by the schools or anybody else. The other problem I have too, I called Sossman Middle School to see if they were aware of what happened with Santana Elementary and the threat being made. They had no clue. Apparently there was only an email sent out to each principal, and the principals, I guess, really didn't tell anybody. I guess to sweep it under the rug, hush hush, whatever. Okay, The second problem I have is we had a walkout on Monday at Sossman Middle School, to where the principal said he was told that he's not to interfere or do anything about it, but he's not to encourage it either. Well, this is very serious when we have children that are 12 and 13-year-olds that are going out with other people afraid that, oh, if I don't go out there, well, I'm not showing support, but they're saying it's for this, they're saying it's for that. They're being used as political pawns. They're not there to be used, politicized. They're there to get an education. This should never have been allowed to happen. 6 rules in the code of conduct, at minimum, were violated. So you're going to tell me that if my child decides he wants to go out and protest something now, that you're going to write him up for these 6 codes of conduct? You're opening you guys self up to a huge lawsuit with what you allowed to happen. Because now you have all these people that can just say, well, I'm going to let my kid do this. This should not be happening in a school. I feel very bad for the people in Florida. Tragedy never should have happened. Too many balls were dropped. Kind of like several balls were dropped with the security of, Santana Elementary got a threat, and nobody else was really notified of it. It's like, oh, we'll just sweep it under the rug. We'll just put it on the webpage. We'll hope it all goes away quietly. Well, unfortunately, we don't live in Mayberry anymore. So I'm very upset that this was allowed to happen. I spoke with the principal today at Sossman, and he told me that he was basically advised to do nothing, to not support it, not to do anything, let it happen. Okay? This was also the same day a threat was made to one of our schools in Higley Unified School District. So what did they let the kids do? They put them out on the football field. That makes a whole lot of sense when there's this kind of stuff like the Florida tragedy going on. I want to know what the board is going to do about protecting our children. Some of these schools, the security is so lax. I mean, it sickens me. When my son, sorry, but I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, a little dry mouth, My son, when he went to Santana Elementary, they had kids club there. Basically, you could just walk through the door. Now they have a door buzzer. Half the time, the teacher just lets you go in. So let's just say Joe Schmo walks in. They have no clue. Oh, they assume it's kids club, or he says he's kids club. They go hide in a bathroom. They wait for school to start. What type of security measures are you going to be taking? When are we actually going to take some real steps to protecting these children, to make sure these campuses are secure, to make sure that people are not getting in there that should not be getting in there, and that and that we don't have to experience a tragedy like Florida did?
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Von Holt. We have exceeded the time limit.
Well, and one other thing I wanted to cover too is I have 2 special needs children now that are being bounced out of Santana Elementary for a Spanish immersion program, is what we've pretty much been told, okay?
Okay, Mr. Van Holt, I understand.
I understand, but this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Okay,
We
you
can
have to
have
understand
someone
that these
from
are
the district
special
office talk with you.
These are special needs kids that need ties, and they're being broken up. The classes are being broken up. The children are being broken up. The families are being broken up. So these kids, the most vulnerable in our schools, are now being pushed aside for a Spanish immersion program.
Mr. Von Holt, we can certainly have someone from our district office contact you. And then we can have someone from our special education department discuss the changes in our special education. Thank you, Mr. Von Holt. we will have someone get a hold of you and further discuss that with you. Thank you for your comments. I appreciate your comments, so we have your contact information and we will have someone reach out to you. Any other requests to speak to the board? Okay, thank you. All right, we are going to go on to our consent agenda. I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda?
President Reese?
Mrs. Kaler?
I should have asked this sooner, but as I looked a little bit further on the on our vouchers with all the electrical items, who was that for? Anybody know on this one? Vendor total was $164,000. I'm on page 29 of 109. Yeah, but who's that?
President Reese, members of the board, that was inclusive of the new sound system for the district office.
Okay, so it's here. Okay, I just wanted confirmation. Thank you.
Any other questions on the consent agenda?
President Reese, just a quick comment that I saw the field trip for the zoo, and I would love, after that school does the field trip to the zoo, that they would come back and talk to all the other schools and see how that one goes. That's got to be fairly new to us, yes? Is that new?
Looks like it was in replacement of their
It's science instead of
camp.
science.
Yes, President Reese, members of the board, that is an overnight trip to the Phoenix Zoo, and I am very excited to hear about how that goes too, and I very much support that one. I think that is going to be a great local trip that is good for our students.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding the consent agenda? Nope. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. We now move on to our monthly governing financial report for January. Anyone have any questions for Mr. Holland on that? Thank you, Mr. Holland. Okay, on to 8.2. I move that we approve the 2018-19 certified contracts for teachers, non-teaching psychologist, occupational therapist, and speech therapist. Any questions or comments regarding those contracts? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. I move that we approve the 2018-19 offer at will employment.
Second.
Any questions on the offer at will employment? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. I move that we approve the 2018-19 administrator contracts.
Second.
Any questions on the administrator contracts?
Madam President, it's my annual time to just point out that in those contracts, again, are the May penalties, the June to July start of school penalties, and the after school starts penalties. And I know I'm minority, but for the admins and the teachers, I just hope that someday in May, for the month of May, we can either reduce those or get rid of them altogether. But I think we're all working towards Higley being a place where people want to stay and remain. But I just wanted to voice my opposition again to penalizing people. Just the way contracts are issued and things like that, they don't really have a chance to look for other jobs. But anyway, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other Questions about administrator contract? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 4-0. I move that we approve the issuance of certified staff contracts for the 2018-19 school year. Any questions?
Well, did you want to mention tomorrow's meeting at all, in case anybody's listening?
We do have a special board meeting tomorrow that has been posted regarding increases for the certified staff.
President Reese, members of the board, that would be that certified staff that does not include the administration. It would be that special classification of certified.
Correct. Thank you. So that board meeting will happen at noon tomorrow. Any other questions, comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. We are at future agenda items. Anyone have any future agenda items? Mr. Glover.
I missed my chance. I wanted to add something that, Ms. Martins, if you have a moment afterwards, I just had a question for you about 8.5. It's approved, all that, I just, clarification. Well, maybe now is not, I don't have a good lead in, but I was thinking about, as we were going through the certified staff and giving them contracts, I was thinking to myself, is there anybody in there that is maybe on an improvement plan, and when does our evaluation period end? And maybe there's an opportunity. I just don't know how our evaluation instrument for teachers is in Higley, and maybe I'm the only one that's curious about it. So if that's the case, I can maybe meet with Ms. Martins. If you guys were interested, maybe that's something we want to put. How do we evaluate our teachers, and that we can all learn about the teacher evaluation instrument? Or if it's just me, I'm happy to educate myself a little more with Ms. Martins.
Well, maybe a brief summary in the superintendent's report.
President Reese, members of the board, we can certainly do that. I think if the whole board would like to know about the teacher evaluation program, I think that would be something that would be good for a work study. If it is just Mr. Glover, I would be happy to meet with him, with Mrs. Martins, and talk about that individually. But we can certainly do it either way the board prefers.
I'm definitely interested. It could almost be just an informational at a meeting too, right? Not necessarily work study. I don't know. I know we're got lots to do in our work studies, so.
President Reese, members of the board, there are several components to the teacher evaluation system, and so I think it would be worth a work study item if you would like to know more about that, because I don't believe it could be quick enough to be done in a superintendent's report, because there are 7 different areas of evaluation and teacher rating systems that we have to go through.
Okay, it sounds like there would be several that are interested, so if we can find a time to get that on a work study, that would be great. Is that all? All right, if we don't have any other items, I move that we adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have a good evening.